Hello, all you freedom-loving people. After Rubio took control of USAID and Musk revealed where the foreign aid money was really going, some Democrat senators said they would protest by blocking nominees. Okay, let's get into it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard took a step closer to being a part of the Trump administration today. The Senate Finance Committee advanced Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination for the Department of Health and Human Services by a first vote of 14-3. All Republicans on the Senate Finance Committee voted for him. The Senate Select Committee on Intelligence also approved Tulsi Gabbard's bid to become the next Director of National Intelligence by a closed-door vote of 9-8. This means they both will head to the Senate floor for a final vote, most likely next week. And it's also worth mentioning that President Trump signed an executive order today withdrawing from the UN Human Rights Council.
In light of numerous actions taken by a number of bodies of the United Nations, which exhibited deep anti-American bias, we have an executive order prepared for your attention that would withdraw the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, would withdraw the United States from the UNRWA, which is a refugee organization, and would also review American involvement in UNESCO, which has also exhibited anti-American bias. More generally, the executive order calls for a review of American involvement and funding in the UN in light of the wild disparities in levels of funding among different countries that, as you've expressed previously, is deeply unfair to the United States.
So I've always felt that the UN has tremendous potential. It's not living up to that potential right now. It really isn't, hasn't for a long time. It has, there are great hopes for it, but it's not being well run, to be honest, and they're not doing the job. A lot of these conflicts that we're working on should be settled, or at least we should have some help in settling them. We never seem to get help. That should be the primary purpose of the UN, the United Nations. And again, it's got great potential, and based on the potential, we'll continue to go along with it, but we got to get their act together.
He also signed an order regarding Iran, giving his advisors instructions to obliterate Iran if they assassinate President Trump.
This is a national security presidential memorandum that seeks to impose maximum pressure on the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Many of these provisions are similar to actions that your administration took during your first administration. The basic idea here is to have every department and agency, or many departments and agencies in your government attempt to sanction and control Iranian activities, particularly relating to the Iranian nuclear program and the Iranian export of terrorism through support of various proxy groups abroad. And the intent here is to give you all of the possible tools to, I'd say, engage with the Iranian government to ensure that going forward they are less of a malign actor on the world stage.
So this is one that I'm torn about. Everybody wants me to sign it. I'll do that. It's very tough on Iran. It's what we had before. We would have never had the problem. You would have never had October 7th. We would have never had the problem had the election gone a different way, which it should have. But this one, I think, more than made up for it. I think we're doing things, and it shows that more than made up for it, much more historic. The Iran situation, hopefully, I'm going to sign it, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it very much. We will see whether or not we can arrange or work out a deal with Iran, and everybody can live together, and maybe that's possible, and maybe it's not possible. So I'm signing this, and I'm unhappy to do it, but I really have not so much choice, because we have to be strong and firm, and I hope that it's not going to have to be used in any great measure at all. It'd be great if we could have a Middle East and maybe a world at total peace. Right now you don't have that. When I left, you had peace all over the world, and now you have the world is blowing up. As you know, Bibi is coming in to see me later. Others are coming in to see me. We'll see what we can do. But I'm signing this, and hopefully it will be a document which won't be very important, will hardly have to be used.
So what kind of deal would you be prepared to make?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. With me, it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. We don't want to be tough on Iran. We don't want to be tough on anybody, but they just can't have a nuclear weapon.
And why say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it.
And you said if they do it, they get obliterated. Just to be clear, you're talking about if Iran made an attempt on your life?
Yeah. That would be called total obliteration. And I can't imagine they do that.
Yesterday, we briefly mentioned that after leaving Panama, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio flew to El Salvador. When talking to reporters there, Rubio said that he is now the acting head of the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID. We also mentioned that Elon Musk has been highly critical of USAID in recent days, but why? Today, we'll dig into the details and we'll explain how all this happened. The USAID is the world's largest single aid agency. It serves as a key player in global humanitarian assistance. USAID employees woke up on Monday morning to find a notice in their mailbox instructing them not to enter the headquarters building in Washington, D.C. The notice said further guidance will be forthcoming. The news came as a shock. Musk discussed DOGE's work with tech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy and others on his platform X on Monday, during which time he revealed that he's working on shutting down USAID. Musk said it's beyond repair. He also said that President Trump agrees it should be shut down. Then the conflict between DOGE and USAID escalated over the weekend. The Trump administration replaced 2 senior security officials at USAID over the weekend after USAID attempted to prevent DOGE representatives from entering restricted areas of the building. However, the DOGE team finally managed to get into USAID on Saturday, and they obtained classified information, including intelligence reports. President Trump later told reporters that USAID has been run by a bunch of radical lunatics. We're getting them out and we'll make a decision. Elon Musk considers USAID a criminal organization that is beyond redemption. Musk retweeted a related story from the New York Post on his X. It said, "Did you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research, including COVID-19, that kills millions of people? In 2023, the United States distributed $72 billion in aid globally, with programs ranging from women's health in conflict zones, clean water in developing countries, secure energy, and anti-corruption initiatives. According to the United Nations, the United States provided 42% of global humanitarian assistance in 2024. Musk confirmed that less than 10% of the U.S. aid for international development foreign aid really reaches the people who need it. Billionaire Dan Pena has also publicly revealed that all the money promised to poor countries has been stolen.
We could solve poverty in the entire world with the stroke of a pen. And you know why they don't do that in Africa, Ethiopia, wherever? Because of corruption. None of the money's going to... Almost none of the money's going to get down to where it belongs. They have a deal called the CAP 28's coming up, where the wealthy countries get together and say how they're going to spend money for the poor countries. This is CAP 28. Every year they pledge between 100 and 500 million. You know how much money's been given? 0. And it's because of the C word, corruption. But nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Everybody knows it, but nobody talks about it. And we've been in Haiti, we've been all kinds of places. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the money getting stolen. How much money can you get to the actual needed recipient? And in most cases, it's almost nothing. It's almost nothing.
President Trump told reporters on Sunday night that he thought Musk was doing a good job. Even though the two men do not agree on all issues, President Trump said he's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we don't agree with it and will not go where he wants to go, but I think he's doing a great job. USAID was founded in 1961 to fund overseas aid. However, in recent years, the organization has used tens of millions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer funds for some shocking projects that have caused widespread controversy. Here are some of the most controversial ways that USAID spends U.S. taxpayer dollars. Number one, funding research on transgender AIDS in South Africa. Federal data show that since 2018, the WITS Health Consortium Research Organization in South Africa has received $30 million in USAID funding to study the transmission of the AIDS virus, HIV, among sex workers and transgender people. Number two, USAID provided $38 million in research funding to the Wuhan Virus Research Institute in China, where the COVID-19 outbreak may have originated. Number three, $1.5 million to a Serbian LGBTQ organization to promote DEI in the Serbian workplace and business community by enhancing economic opportunities for the LGBTQ plus community. Number four, USAID provided $2.5 million to support the electric vehicle project in Vietnam. However, according to the USAID website, only one battery station has been built, saving only 260 gallons of gasoline. That is to say, the investment of $10,000 only saves 1 gallon of gasoline. An average semi-trailer truck has a fuel tank capacity of approximately 130 gallons. That means that a $2.5 million investment only results in a truck getting 2 less fill-ups. Number five, USAID also funded a documentary to promote its work in funding the first transgender medical clinic in India as part of its global LGBTQ program. Number six, the former United States government also spent $500,000 to promote atheism in Nepal. Number seven, the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs approved a grant of $25,000 for an opera in Colombia designed to increase cross-gender representation in the arts. In addition, the project received $22,000 in private funding for a total of $47,000. House Foreign Affairs Chairman Brian Mast said, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. This is a farce. Number eight, the Foreign State Department also approved a $32,000 grant for a production of a Peruvian transgender comic book. The Trump administration's freeze on U.S. foreign aid has drawn criticism from the mainstream media, but these media outlets have only mentioned some noble-sounding humanitarian aid such as women's health in conflict zones, clean water in developing countries, energy security, and anti-corruption initiatives, but the mainstream media have not reported on where most of USAID's funding really goes. The closing of USAID by the Musk-led DOGE and the restructuring of U.S. foreign aid strategy also signals the potential for significant changes in foreign aid policy in the future. Elon Musk is working for President Trump as a special government employee. Musk has a government email address and he has office space in the White House building, but Musk does not receive a salary. So he may not be required to file public financial disclosure reports under federal rules. So how did Rubio end up being the acting administrator of USAID? On Monday, he confirmed that the U.S. State Department had actually taken over USAID. In a letter to lawmakers, Rubio said that he had delegated authority as acting administrator to Pete Morocco, who is a Trump appointee and who worked at USAID during President Trump's first term. Morocco also serves as the State Department's head of foreign assistance. Rubio said on Monday that he had authorized Morocco to begin a process of engaging in a review and potential reorganization of USAID's activities to maximize efficiency and to align operations with the national interest. Speaking to the press in El Salvador, Rubio said the functions of USAID must align with U.S. foreign policy and that USAID is a completely unresponsive agency. One aid official said that Morocco knows how the system works and is dismantling it at every turn. Rubio also said that USAID's work should be paramount to preserving U.S. national security and advancing U.S. interests. He said, "There are things that USAID, that we do through USAID, that we should continue to do and we will continue to do. This is not about ending the programs that USAID does per se. There are things that it does that are good, and there are things that it does that we have strong questions about." Rubio claimed his frustration with USAID went back to his time in Congress. He wrote in a post on X in 2017, "Foreign aid is not charity. We must make sure it is well spent, but it is less than 1% of budget and critical to our national security." Later on Monday, President Trump said that he doesn't need Congress to scrap the agency. He said, "Not when it comes to fraud. If there's fraud, these people are lunatics. We just want to do the right thing. It's something that should have been done a long time ago." Went crazy during the Biden administration. They went totally crazy. What they were doing and the money they were giving to people that shouldn't be getting it. But President Trump was supportive of USAID during his first term. He said the concept was good, but it was the people who implemented it that were the problem. He said they turn out to be radical left lunatics, and the concept of it is good, but it's all about the people. Of course, these measures by President Trump and Elon Musk have drawn some opposition. Senator Brian Schatz, a Democrat in Hawaii, and several other congressional Democrats held a press conference outside USAID on Monday to denounce the attack on USAID. And Schatz said that he would block a Senate vote on President Trump's nominee for the Foreign Service post in protest. Under the Senate Rules of Order, even if the other 99 senators want the nomination to go through as quickly as possible, as long as one senator objects, the Senate must spend a great deal of time pushing the nomination or promotion through. Senator Chris Van Hollen, another Democrat, told reporters after the press conference that he too would take action to block the State Department nominee. Delay is one of the few possible avenues for minority party members to try to influence policy. It's also an approach that Republicans have taken before. Elon Musk's Tesla and SpaceX are innovative companies, and his approach and standards for hiring people are also off the beaten path. Musk is a genius, and so are the people he chooses to work for him. Otherwise, how would they be able to keep up with his leaping ideas? The media revealed that Musk's DOGE has recruited 6 young people to help him cut government spending. On the surface, these 6 young people have no government experience, and some don't even have college degrees. But among Silicon Valley's tech elite, not just a few don't have college degrees. Genius cannot be measured by ordinary standards. So let's take a look at who these 6 people are. Gavin Kleiger is the oldest of these men. He is 25 years old. His LinkedIn lists his employer as the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, where he is a special advisor to the director. He briefly worked as an engineer at Twitter in 2019. Most recently, he spent 5 years as a senior software engineer at the cloud software company Databricks. He earned a 7-figure income at the company, and now he is giving up a 7-figure salary to take on challenging unpaid work at DOGE. He was the one who sent the email to USAID employees on Monday telling them not to come to work. Kleiger has made no secret of his support for MAGA warriors Matt Gaetz and Pete Hegseth. He used his Substack to post about them. Kleiger said that Gaetz was a victim of the deep state and Hegseth was the warrior that Washington didn't want but desperately needed. Luke Fairtor, who is 23 years old, is a former SpaceX intern. Former GitHub CEO Nat Friedman called him a national treasure. Fairtor dropped out of college to begin working for Friedman before he interned for Musk's SpaceX. In 2024, he used AI to decipher the 2,000-year-old Vesuvius scrolls of the ancient city of Pompeii. This is something that scientists have been studying for centuries without success. He was awarded a $700,000 prize for his achievement. Ferrator has been granted a Level A work permit, which means that he has free access to the core office areas of the organization, as well as access to all physical spaces and IT systems. Another person who received a Class A work permit, like Ferrator, was Edward Coriston. He is the youngest of the 6 at 19 years old. After graduating from high school last summer, he interned at Musk's Neuralink for 3 months. And now he is a student at Northeastern University in Boston. His father, Charles Coriston, is a successful businessman. He bought the once failed snack company Lesser Evil in 2011, and he turned it around, reportedly earning more than $100 million a year. Next is Akasha Boba, who is 21 years old. He is still a student at the University of California, Berkeley. He has interned at the Bridgewater Associates hedge fund, as well as at Meta and Palantir. One ex-user posted on Monday that Boba is one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. In 2019, he was organizing the local Model United Nations near his home in Princeton Junction, New Jersey. His father is a computing science academic. Next is Ethan Chautran, who is 22 years old. He participated in the Musk XAI Hackathon, where his team won first place with AI-generated answers to hypothetical questions. He founded Energize AI, which is a scheduling assistant tool for professionals. In 2023, the project received a $100,000 grant from OpenAI. At the time that he founded Energize AI, he was a full-time student at Harvard University. He was working on autonomous vehicles in Harvard University's Edge Computing Lab. He penned an essay for Business Insider last summer where he detailed how he balances his startup with full-time studies. And the 6th DOGE recruit is Goche Cole Killian, who is 24 years old. He is currently a volunteer at DOGE. He graduated high school in 2019. He most recently worked as an engineer at Jump Trading, which specializes in algorithms and high-frequency financial trading. Elon Musk didn't want this group of young people exposed to the media, and there's no doubt that the work that they are doing and their credentials will be attacked by opponents of change. But Charlie Kirk defends the young engineers. Kirk posted on X, he said, "Remember when Wired was focused on cutting-edge technology and how young college dropout founders could change the world? Not anymore. Now they're doxing DOGE employees and whining that they are too young and inexperienced to reform America's government. America's experienced expert class have led this country to ruin. Young geniuses with a startup mentality could save it." President Trump's comments about the possibility of using military or economic measures to take over Greenland have sparked global concern, but on Monday, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, while still insisting that Greenland is not for sale, said that she agrees with President Trump on the issue that the Chinese Communist Party is a threat to national security. She said, "I totally agree with the Americans that the high north, the Arctic region, is becoming more and more important when we are talking about defense and security and deterrence. And it is possible to find a way to ensure stronger footprints in Greenland." She also said that both Denmark and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization are willing to scale up in the region. She said, "So if this is about securing our part of the world, we can find a way forward." Americans already have a military base there, monitoring space and detecting missile threats. And the PM said that the U.S. can have more possibilities. Last week, the Danish government reached an agreement of about 14.6 billion Danish kroner, nearly $2 billion, with parties, including the governments of Greenland and the Faroe Islands, to upgrade surveillance capabilities and to assert sovereignty in the region. The Danish Ministry of Defense said that this would include 3 new Arctic Navy ships, 2 additional long-range surveillance drones, and upgrades to satellite capabilities. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said on Monday that he agrees with President Trump's views on Greenland, especially on defense issues, and he thinks that President Trump is right. Rutte also urged the Danish Prime Minister that she should immediately begin negotiations with President Trump. He argued that it was about the importance of defense in the far north, not just Greenland, but also Iceland, Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Canada. Meanwhile, Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egde has consistently expressed his desire for independence, not to be a part of the United States, but also not to remain under Danish control. Greenland will hold a general election on April 6th. The Greenland government on Monday introduced an emergency parliamentary proposal that would impose a total ban on parties in the self-governing territory from accepting political donations from foreign and anonymous sources, as well as limits on the size of private donations to political campaigns. The government warned that some donations that might be trivial elsewhere could be huge for the island, which has a population of just 57,000 people. Foreign or anonymous donations, therefore, could radically distort the Greenlandic party's chance of participating in election campaigns. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, we thank you, but please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because some of our audience have reported that they're somehow unsubscribed without their knowledge. We've also heard that many of you don't get notifications of our videos anymore on YouTube. So when you do subscribe on YouTube, please make sure to tap the notification bell as well. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth.